Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the weekly Levinson and Associates training webinar series. So real quick, without further ado, I'm going to jump right in. We're talking about a very, very hot topic right now, and we have the leading IUL carrier that's joining us as our featured guest speaker. So great stuff to come. You've been hearing a lot about IUL, AG 49 regulation, maybe some changes with the current interest rates on illustrations. And you need to know what's going on, the good, the bad, the indifferent. We wanted to make sure that our agents, number one, are in the loop. Number two, know about all of the new updates for marketing, showing clients illustrations, what products to use, what products not to use, a little bit about carrier info. We're going to share some news on a brand new IUL product that no one has seen before, so we're going to bring that up as well. And then I also wanted to share, we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 lead programs that we're going to dive into. As soon as Eric is done speaking, I'm going to share some information and what's going on with IUL, annuity, mortgage protection, and final expense leads. So great stuff. What I also want to do, if you focus on the top right-hand corner, that was a testimonial that just came in, and I told Andrew and Joe, I was like, we have to share this with our agents. So as you can see, it's highlighted in yellow. My experience with the Levinson lead program was great. Levinson has an easy-to-use final expense quote engine and carriers that make the application process very easy. The script worked well as I closed 15% of my leads in 30 days. And because of the guaranteed 20% closing rate, I know I'm going to get the most out of my leads compared to any other lead vendor on the market. So that's the brand new final expense program. When I say brand new, it's going about 6-7 weeks now. But what's so unique is the 20% guarantee. That is unheard of in the lead space, period. Okay, yes, the program is good, but the 20% guarantee is priceless in my opinion. So definitely worth a shot. And I'm also going to say, you know, when you're thinking about mortgage protection or final expense leads, it doesn't necessarily mean that that cannot turn into, say, a $17,000 commission IUL case. It's all about, you know, pivoting and making the move and doing what's best for the client that you're speaking to, right? So yes, this means they reached out because they wanted a quote and they wanted to hear more about life insurance, but they don't know the difference between final expense and mortgage protection. So it's up to you to obviously pivot, have your quote engine up and running. And again, that can turn into a big IUL sale. So always just know the basics, have your technology up and running in the background, right? Because they say strike while the iron's hot. So you have to be ready to roll and know enough to be dangerous. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, yes, this new AG 49 regulation. We're also going to share a new carrier update. We're going to talk about the only IUL compliant sales software in the industry. We're going to share some new premium finance resources regarding IUL in the premium finance space. We're going to talk about a complimentary software system free to all Levinson agents that allows you to go in and find out all of the local businesses in your area code, zip code, county, whatever the case is. This system will tell you how many employees the business has, what benefits the employees are getting, basically enough information so you can make the call, right? And when you're speaking to whatever, head of operations, the CEO, you know everything about what they're offering at that time, right? So you can bring some value add. Andrew, if we can mute those phones, that would be great. Okay, so let's jump into the first slide here. What I wanted to share, this is a statistic that came in about 3-4 weeks ago now. And I find this to be mind-boggling. In fact, think about what's going on, right, during the pandemic. Think about 2020, right? What we're all going through now, not only in this country, but in the world. And think about life insurance sales. So, you say to yourself, well, if there's a lot of people out there that are losing jobs, cars are getting repossessed, people are going bankrupt. Yes, but the fact is the life insurance topic is coming up more often than ever around the dinner table. And the reasoning is, let's say little Jenny, little Susie, right? They're looking at mom and dad, right? They're home for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because there's not many people that are actually leaving for work. And the kids are saying, well, what happens if mommy and daddy get COVID, right? And they pass on? Are we going to be okay? So typically the parents look at each other, and we all know most people in this country are underinsured. So they're looking around saying, oh my gosh, you know what? They're right. We need to get a quote. Let's call the local life insurance agent, right? The one that's been marketing on social media because, the name Bill Levinson, life insurance agent, keeps popping up everywhere. So they're going to call Bill, run a quote, and boom, guess what? Hopefully buy a policy. And Bill Levinson just made a new sale. Okay, so this topic is coming up more than ever, and hopefully you're at the forefront and you're keeping your name out there in front of these consumers, right? That's the name of the game. Now, here's what's unbelievable. First of all, final expense sales for us, for Levinson and Associates, up 24% over the prior year. Okay, that is amazing. And it's because of you all, right? There's no secret behind this. You all are out there. You're using our lead program. Everything's working. We have that new underwriting and quoting software that's free just for final expense. So obviously it's working. Now, here's what's even crazier. IUL sales, and by the way, this is industry-wide, not here at Levinson, industry-wide. IUL sales for third quarter of 2020 was up 2% over the second quarter. Okay, so you say to yourself, oh yeah, maybe life insurance premium is up, but most people are buying small term and small final expense cases. No, that's not the case. The average target premium was $10,920, and again, an increase of over 2% for quarter two. Okay, look at the bottom there. This is interesting. Nearly 6% of all sales were through products with a primary objective of cash accumulation, IUL sales. Okay, that's unbelievable. That tells me if I'm an insurance agent working retail, which you all are, I need to know enough to be dangerous when it comes to IUL. I need to know the go-to products, go-to carriers, and I need to understand what AG 49 is. And that's how this whole webinar came to you all, right? That's how this whole topic came up. We said, hey, the agents need to know the facts and what's going on. Now, here's what's even crazier. Look at the top right corner. Allianz, #1 go-to in quarter three for IUL. Okay, look at some of these bullets. Non-med now up to $2 million, living benefits included. So when you think IUL, definitely think Allianz as the one-stop shop. And what we're going to do today, the featured guest speaker is going to dive into the platform, dive into AG 49, what to know, what's working, what's not working, everything the Levinson agents need to be aware of for 2021. Just under Allianz, you'll see Emeritus. They were #2. And then, of course, #3 was LSW. We happen to have direct IMO contracts with the 3 top IUL companies. But look at some of these non-med numbers. On the bottom, LSW up to $3 million, also living benefits included. And they have made 0 changes when it comes to underwriting for this pandemic. That's insane. Okay, so obviously we want you to think Allianz first. These are 2 more options right below. But again, our core companies are definite go-tos. If you need help with any illustrations, if you want to try out our new IUL sales software that's also 100% compliant, just let us know. Any of our marketers can make sure that you have all the illustrations and everything you need to make the sale and that you're comfortable, right? Because there are a few moving parts and you need to know what the answers are going to be when your clients present these questions, okay? And we're here to help. So Just be comfortable knowing that. Okay, let's jump right in here. What I want to do real quick is talk about the Levinson core IUL go-tos, okay? All direct IMO contracts. This isn't like typical MLM where there's 10 to 20 layers under us and then you point to them and then everybody's taking a piece of your commission, okay? It doesn't work like that. It's you, us, and the carrier. That's it. And we get paid from the carrier, so nothing to do with your commissions. Okay, now, what I would also note here for this page, look at all of the red asterisks, okay? That means this carrier, including Allianz, comes with our free scholarship program, which, by the way, that scholarship program now, we are averaging 2 to 3 new colleges every single month. Over 400 schools now. We have some new marketing material, videos. We have a section on the free agent website dedicated to the scholarship program. So very, very neat stuff. In my opinion, the ultimate value add because, let's say if Andrew is an Allianz agent and I'm an Allianz agent, right? We're both talking to the same consumer, right? We're both pitching the same product, same death benefit, same cash value, same premium. The difference is I'm giving the client a $40,000 valued scholarship to any of these 400 plus schools in the country. Andrew is not and cannot because he's not a Levinson Sage approved agent. So as much as they like Andrew because he has a better personality, he's better looking, whatever the case is, they're going to buy from me every single time. Why? Because of the value add. They have 2 grandkids, right? And they want to make sure that they're going to help fund a 4-year education for little Johnny. So it's not rocket science. I encourage you to look into the scholarship program. We're going to include all of the information in today's thank you email, brochures, everything that you need to know. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for the thank you email. Also, as we go through this webinar, okay, use the question box. Type in questions, comments. We want to hear from you. So please use that. And then at the end, of course, we're going to do our question of the day. Whoever is paying attention the best, okay, I'm going to ask a question relating to one of the slides. Whoever's listening, whoever answers first, wins your choice, Amazon Echo or the new tablet, okay? And we'll announce the winner at the end. Hopefully it's you. Okay, so listing of all scholarship companies. Now, what we also did here that's new for 21, look at the green asterisk. Okay, what that means is our IUL sales software is 100% compliant with that specific carrier. Okay, so again, top left corner, Allianz has both. Okay, that means our IUL sales software, 100% compliant, and the Sage Scholarship Program, 100% compliant with Allianz. Again, that's why they're a go-to. Also, as you go throughout this slide, you'll see some have green, some have red. LSW is all the way over to the right. They also have both 100% compliant and approved both platforms. Okay? By the way, both platforms are free to you. So with the IUL sales presentation, we can run that for you. Sage Scholarship, you can do all on your own, or we can help you as well. Another go-to I'm going to mention, if you look at the second row on the bottom, Columbus Life, okay, is a Western Southern Life company, A+ rated. We just added Columbus, and let me tell you real quick some of the reasons why. Number one, they have an 11% S&P cap on the IUL product. Number two, write this down, the only Table 3 shave reduction program in the industry today, period, bar none. Okay, Lincoln has one, but they pulled it during COVID-19. Columbus has the only 3-table reduction program in the industry today on the GUL product, which is a low-cost, guaranteed, no-lapse product. Okay, so write that down. Very, very important. Well, you know what, Andrew, let's include in the thank you email today the Columbus contracting brochures and, of course, everything to do with Allianz and the products we're going over today. Okay, let's move forward here real quick. What I want to show everyone is the IUL sales software platform. Okay, now, again, we're here to help you. We can run these presentations. There's no charge. Or if you want to get into the VIP program, which gives you full access 24/7, no problem. Okay, if you write a minimum of $20,000 of target IUL premium in a year, we pay for this. So it's 100% free. Or call one of our marketers and we will do the heavy lifting for you, whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, let's move forward here. So real quick, what I want to do without further ado is jump into the feature presentation with Mr. Eric Johnson from our go-to IUL carrier, Allianz Life. Eric, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, good stuff.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, really excited to be here, guys. Just a quick, bio on me. I've been with Allianz longer than I like to keep track. Before that, I was actually an advisor over at Principal Financial Group, so I do know, I know what it's like to be in your shoes. Yeah, speaking of, striking while the iron's hot, guys, the Allianz IUL, I would say, is about as hot as it's literally ever been. In 2020, we were actually the #1 selling IUL product out there, which we are extremely proud of. So yeah, it's now's the time to really be sitting down with those clients and really, talking about the IUL and especially the Allianz IUL, because what our bread and butter is it's not just a life insurance product. It is that cash and retirement play. Life, the death benefit is that's kind of second nature for us. We are built for that. When you have those clients that are saying, I need something on top of the 401k and the IRA I'm doing, I need another retirement bucket, the Allianz IUL is hands down the best thing out there. So with that, real quick too, we did actually increase our non-med up to $3 million. So just so you guys know. And speaking of that target premium slide you were mentioning, last year our average target premium case was just north of 13,000. So when you guys get into these cases, the paydays can be nice too. But let's just get started here. I want to first touch on AG 49, what it is, what has happened, where are we now? And so with that, real quick, I just want to touch on the history. In the late 90s, obviously, IUL was introduced into the market. Since the inception, a lot of carriers have really changed this product around. A lot of innovations led to the innovations led to the implementation of AG 49, and we first saw AG 49 in 2015. And what the first thing that they did was they came in and kind of handcuffed us and said, hey, you need to establish a maximum illustrated rate that you can show, and you can only show a 1% positive arbitrage on those policy loans. And that was back in 2015. And so when that came into play, a lot of carriers said, okay, what can we do to make these look better? And that's when we started to see the enhanced FIUL, so to say, and we saw the market introduced to what I would call supercharged products that feature an extremely high multipliers. And with those high multipliers, you saw an incredibly high asset charge. I mean, we have some multipliers out there with carriers that are at 80, 90, maybe 100%. But those asset charges are about 7, 8, 9, 10%. And so you would see on an illustrated rate of, let's just say the max illustrated rate was 6.5%. You would see a 6.5% rate of return, and then you'd see a 100% multiplier on top of that. And that's what your clients would be seeing. But what they're not seeing is that 8, 9, 10% asset charge. And so you can imagine if you look back in 2000, 2001, 2002, when we had zeros for those 3 straight years, if you were in one of these high multipliers, high asset charge products, 3 years of zeros, you're getting charged 8% on top of the other fees of a life insurance contract. I mean, these things were blowing up left and right. What's cool about Allianz is we offer 3 multipliers. We offer a 40% multiplier and a 15% multiplier. What's nice is we are an extremely conservative company. And so with our high 40% multiplier, we only charge you a 1% asset charge. And that is, I mean, as you guys know, that is what you would pay if you were to put your money with a money manager, right? If your clients gave you money to manage, you're going to charge them roughly 1 or 2%. And so with our multiplier, we only charge you that 1%. So with this AG 49, what they came out to now in 2020 is they said, okay, now we're seeing these high multipliers. The clients are seeing more potential product return versus product risk. And so then they came in and said, okay, we need to make another change. If you go to the next slide, the 3 things that we need to take away from what AG 49-A, which was implemented on December 14th of 2020, is every FIUL carrier was impacted by this change. So it wasn't just the top 3, wasn't the top 5 that got impacted. Every single carrier that sells an FIUL, these changes affected them. And essentially what it does is those multipliers and bonuses that I mentioned, those 40, 80, 100% multipliers, you can no longer show those above the max illustrated rate. So pre-AG 49A, you could have a 6.5% max illustrated rate, and then on top of that, you would show your bonus or multiplier. Post AG 49, you show a 6.5% rate of return. There's nothing else that you can show on top of that. So you can imagine what these illustrations now look like pre versus post AG 49A, right? You can't show any multipliers above your max illustrated rate. And so a lot of carriers are going, oh my goodness, we had these 100, 200% multipliers with 8, 9, 10% asset charges that we can't show anymore. And some carriers are saying, all right, we're just not going to sell the FIUL anymore. What's awesome about Allianz is we've been conservative since we started, and this is not affecting us nearly as much as other carriers. And the other thing that they did, so they took that away from us. Then the second handcuff they did is they said, okay, when it comes to showing distributions, we're not going to allow you to show 1% arbitrage anymore. We're actually going to cut that in half. And so what I mean by that is when you show at least with Allianz, when you show income, when you want to show those disbursements, we show a 5% asset charge up front, and then the money that you are borrowing is showing a 6% rate of return. So you're making essentially 1% on your money. Now, post AG 49, you can only show a 5.5% rate of return. And so they're kind of coming at us at 2 different ways, right? Multipliers no longer, and then your positive arbitrage now is cut in half. And so with that, if you go to the next slide, we saw this as essentially an opportunity to say, okay, so they're coming at us this way and this way. This is a great way for us to really tell the Allianz story and have you guys as the producers out there to really understand what's going on behind the scenes. Because even though they took away what we can show in an illustration, your clients are still getting that 40% multiplier and that 15% multiplier if they want it, right? That is still contractually guaranteed. It is still there. We just are no longer allowed to show that. And so with that, if you go to the next slide, we started to introduce new education tools, right? Now we've come out with new tools that'll help you as a producer be able to really paint the story of what's going on with these products, because your clients now are only seeing, I would just say they're scratching the surface now with these illustrations. They're really not understanding the full picture. And so we've come out with a bunch of new tools to really help you guys as a producer be able to sit down with your clients when you talk about this product and say, yeah, you're only seeing this, but here's truly what's going on behind the scenes. And so one of the big ones that I'll touch on real quickly is this Allianz Showcase. And with this tool, what this is doing is it is allowing you to generate generic case studies using those different bonus opportunities that we offer, right? We can't show, a 6.5% rate of return and then show that 40% multiplier anymore. But what we can do is show a generic case study saying, Kathy, she's 45 years old. She wants to pay $10,000 a year for 20 years. What would that look like? What kind of distributions would we see based on the Select, which is our 40% multiplier, the Bonus, which is our 15% multiplier, or the new Classic that we just introduced, which is just a 0.9% flat bonus. And so with this Allianz Showcase tool, you can actually show your clients, here are the 3 different options you would get if you were to use, X, Y, and Z. And so they can actually start to see the difference between, okay, in the illustration, all I'm seeing is the Classic, but here are my other options that I know I will get if this thing does perform the way we think it will. On top of that, we introduced a new backcasting tool, which will actually help you be able to show historical performance of the actual indexes and how they've done real. A lot of people go, hey, you're showing a 6% rate of return. Well, how is it actually done based on, historical performance? We have that too now, so you can actually show them. On top of that, we introduced a brand new redesigned illustration software, much, much smoother, a lot easier to use. And when you actually sit down with your clients and show them the actual pages, much less words. So it's just a lot easier to see and get down to the point. On top of that, we introduced an allocation insight tool. This just really kind of helps when your clients, a good example of this would be we've had clients that sit down with them and say, tell me what you think the market's going to do in the next year. Oh, I think the market's going to be a bull market. I'm really excited about it. Great. Here's the allocation you should use. Oh, I'm really worried about the market. I really think it's going to be flat. Perfect. Here's an allocation you should use. Or I think, hey, this is going to be just a bear market. I'm terrified. Great. This is the allocation you should use. And so that allocation insight tool really gives your client the opportunity to say, here's the market I think it's going, and then you can put them in that allocation that they want to be in based on what they think the market's going to do. And the cool thing with Allianz is each and every year, your clients on their policy anniversary can change their allocations to whatever they see fit. So when you sit down with your clients on their policy anniversary and they go, hey, yeah, I thought it was a bull market, it was a bear market. Next year, I think it's going to be a flat market. All right, let's pull up this allocation insight tool. Here's the allocation we think you should use based on what you're telling me, and they can go into that real time. And then lastly, we have the insight proposal visualization tool. This is just more of that interactive software that really allows you to tell a visual story of how the IUL works. It talks about the fees. You can have, hypothetical scenarios where, what happens if I turn on my income at 70 and only take it to 85? How do I offset my 401k income with the Allianz IUL? So you can show if you drained your 401k to 80, how much IUL on top of that would you need to be able to fund the rest of your retirement? So these brand new tools, and on top of that, the one thing that we did introduce back when we released the Life Pro Plus Advantage was the Allianz Rate Lock. If you go to the next slide. And that's what this is. If you go to one more. And so with this tool, real quick, I think this is just a really powerful tool to just kind of show this example is between August of 19 and March 31st of 2020, we had an average rate lock. So people actually took advantage of this rate lock and locked in an average rate of return of 9.78%. So let me say it again. Between August of 19 to March of 2020, we had an average rate lock of 9.78. So that's when clients said, hey, you know what? I'm up pretty good. I want to take advantage of this rate lock and just lock it in and not worry about volatility for the rest of the year until my policy anniversary year. I got to lock in. On average, we had a 9.78% rate of return. That's almost a third higher than anything you can max illustrate. And so I'm going to dive into kind of what is the rate lock, how does it work, and show you a couple of examples of that. So if you go to the next slide, essentially what the rate lock is, if you click on one more. There we go. So 90% of the policies you see out there are like this, right? You got your policy start date, and then you have your policy anniversary, or whatever it starts at, ends at, you subtract, that's what your rate of return is, right? 90% of what you see out there, this is how it works. What Allianz is doing now is they're saying, hey, we're going to give more power to your clients. We're going to say at any point in time during this year, if you look at this example, they can make a phone call or go online and say, I want to lock in this gain. I'm up 6, 7, 8%. I want to lock that in because I'm a little worried about what's going on in the market. So click on the next slide. You can see that they can do that now. They can lock that in. So in this example, let's just say in year one, 3 quarters into the year, if you click on the next one, your client locked in at 108, right? Without that, they've gotten a 102. And so instead of a 2% rate of return, because of the rate lock feature, they got an 8% rate of return. Now, a big question we get is, okay, so I locked it in. Great. Got that 8% rate of return. Starting in year 2, what is my beginning index value? Is it that 108 that I locked in at? Is it the 102? Click on the next slide. The actual beginning rate is that 102. So whatever you lock in at, you locked in your gain, so you're good. But whatever the index finishes at for that year is your new starting value for the next year. So it's really important to know because in this example, right, they locked in an 8% gain. Starting in year 2 now, they're starting back at that 102, right? And so you can just see the power of this tool. I mean, your clients at any point in time during the year can lock in that rate and not worry about it. We had an example of someone, their policy started in September of 2019. January of 2020, they were up 12% and locked in that rate of return. And we all know what happened to the market February, March, and April, right? Straight nosedive. And so your clients can take advantage and say, hey, I want to lock in that rate of return. Another thing I want to mention is that potentially in Q3 or Q4, we are going to be releasing a feature with this tool Now, your client can say, hey, if this thing gets up 8, 9, 10%, I want it to automatically lock in for me so I don't have to check it, once a week and see what the index is at. And it can do that. We're coming out with a set it and forget it. So when you sit down with your clients and they say, hey, I want to lock it in at 8%, can we auto do that if it gets up there? And the answer is going to be yes. Don't quote me on a timeline yet, but from what I'm hearing, we're hoping to release that in Q3 or Q4. And the cool thing too is for all policies that are already in force that didn't have this feature, we are rolling it out to them as well on our policy anniversary. So older policies that didn't have the rate lock, now they will have that feature where they can lock in their rate of return. If you go to the next slide, just another quick example I want to touch on just so you guys are kind of aware. So, right, you started at year 1, right? You start at 102, you go to 1 in year 2, it ends at 110. Our sweet number is 108 again, so you lock in that rate of return. Something to keep in mind, right? Double-edged sword, it can go up from where you locked it in at, right? So he locked in at 108. If he wouldn't have locked it in at, he would have got actually a 110. So he'd have got a little higher rate of return had he not locked in that rate of return. But my point to that would be, okay, if you're sitting down to your policy anniversary meeting and your clients are saying to you, gosh, dang it, I wish we didn't lock that in and I would have got it just a couple percentage higher. Those are the conversations I think we all want to be having versus sitting down and them saying, if you look at the year 1 example, it started at 100, went to 102, I got a 2% rate of return. They're going to be like, what the heck? This thing was supposed to do 6, 7, 8%. I only got a 2% rate of return. What's going on? Right? I mean, the conversation I would love to be having at least would be saying, yep, dang it, we only got 7% rate of return. If we wouldn't have locked in, we got maybe a 9. That's okay, because now we're talking about locking in positive gains. And we're talking about locking in gains higher than what we even illustrated. And so it's just an extremely, extremely powerful tool. And one thing I will mention too is all of our policies, about 95% of our policies that go in force today are taking advantage of this rate lock feature. What I mean by that is we offer it in 2 of our allocation options. Our Bloomberg US Dynamic Balance 2 ER Index and our PIMCO Index, which is our volatility controlled indexes. 95% of what we're seeing are people going into those indexes for multiple reasons. Number 1, great par rates, great bonuses. Number 2, I would say is probably the best conversation you can have if you're trying to compare against a VUL. If someone's going to sit down with you and they go, hey, I'd like a VUL versus IUL, I would argue and say why. And they're typically the reason you're going to get is they're going to say, well, because it's uncapped. I have unpotential upside. Absolutely you do. No question. You also have downside, right? With an IUL, you have a 0 floor. And now with these indexes that we offer, the volatility controlled indexes, the Bloomberg and the PIMCO, with the rate lock feature, you are uncapped on the upside as well. So now the VUL argument, I don't know what they can say. Because on an IUL, we're saying we're uncapped just like the VUL. We're offering a 0 floor protection. The VUL can't do that. Plus, I'm offering you the opportunity at any point in time during the year to lock in my gains. Hands down, you'd win that argument every single time. So just some really, really cool stuff coming out here, guys, at Allianz that I think should really be talking about. You go to the next slide. So this is an actual snapshot of what the Bloomberg US Dynamic Balance 2 ER Index did in 2019. So this is the actual one of those volatility controlled indexes I mentioned that has the rate lock feature. This is just kind of peaks and valleys through 2019 of actual points that you could have locked in during the year, right? So you can see here, I mean, I know they're called volatility control, but there's still plenty of movement. And now with a post AG 49 world, this is what you can show only right here. This is the rate, right? This rate of return with the max illustrated rate about 6%. So this is all you can show in an illustration right here. If you click on the next slide, this is what's actually going on behind the scenes, guys. So if you look at this, let's just look at the first one, April 30th of 2019. Raw return 6.26%. Now you take into account the participation rate and the bonus and look at what these returns can actually do. Now what's unique to Allianz is we do all our hedging in-house. And the fact that we do that allows us to offer these par rates that you see here. Because we do it all in-house, we don't pay a third party to do it, we are able to allow those types of par rates and keep it uncapped on the upside. So if you look at December 27, 2018, guys, if you were in that select multiplier, your clients would have gotten a 27% 8.3% rate of return. No joke. At any point in time, they can lock in these gains. They started January 1st, and let's just say July 3rd, they're up 8.39. They lock it in. They don't worry about it. And so with these illustrations on a post-AG 49 world are literally only showing not even half the story. And that's, that's our job and your job to help really paint that picture of truly what's going on. Because these bonuses that we offer, that 15, 40% multiplier, that's contractually guaranteed. Contractually guaranteed to be there. And it's just really kind of understanding, all right, what else is going on that they're not seeing? And there's a whole lot going on. Whole lot going on. So you go to the next slide. One thing that I really like to, a lot of our agents like is this, how do we sit down and talk to our clients? How do we get them excited about life insurance, right? Because you say the word life insurance to your clients, they're probably going to roll their eyes and say, my goodness, are you kidding me? You're just a life insurance salesman, right? I've been there. I know. 100%. If you go to the next slide, there's this exercise that a lot of our agents do that is really starting to get them and get their clients to see, you know what, maybe this Allianz IUL isn't just a life insurance product. There's a lot more going on than I thought there was. And so it's an exercise, guys, but if you got a pen and paper, write this down. And it really, it's just really kind of having that conversation about it and presenting it in a way that it's not just, the boring old life insurance. It's much, much more than that. So if you go to the next slide, I want to talk to you guys kind of about the setup. So when you sit down with your client, I want you just, tell them, hey, talk to me about, what it is you look for, or if you could design the ultimate financial vehicle with your money, what would that look like? And you write down numbers 1 through 8. Just say, hey, start throwing out some ideas, right? Don't write down everything they say, but let them know, when they're not in the top 8, and keep the 8, the numbers 1 through 8 blank until you actually get the ones that are supposed to be there. So if you go to the next slide, if you go through 1 through 8, right? One more, please. Perfect. You ask your client, if you could design a financial vehicle for your money, what would that look like? If you go to so first thing they'll probably say, right, everyone's going to say, well, I want my money to grow. I wouldn't give it to you if I didn't want my money to grow. Absolutely, 100% correct. The next thing they might say would be that I don't want to lose any money, right? I don't want my money to lose. Absolutely. I want the money to grow, and I don't want money to lose. 100%. I'm with you. The next thing they might say would be, I want to access my money, right? I don't want to put it into, an annuity and have my money just be tied up and locked up for 6, 8, 10, 12 years, right? I want to be able to access my money. It's my money. I want it to grow. I don't want to lose any, and I want to have access to it when I need it, right? Case of emergency, whatever it may be. Perfect. Next thing they might say, I want it to grow tax deferred, right? I don't want to pay taxes on my gains right now, especially if I'm not accessing any of the money. Absolutely. I can't argue that one. And from there, they might say, I'd really love maybe some tax-free distributions. When I actually want to take money out, I'd like that to be tax-free too. I mean, we all know where taxes are going, right, guys? They're only going up. I'm only going to go up. Next thing they might say is, I really wish this was flexible. I want to be able to maybe pull money out here, put some money back in, maybe not touch it for a while, whatever it may be. I just want it to be, more flexible. Next thing I might say is I really would love, maybe some protection, maybe like a long-term care, chronic illness, something that, protects me to know that this investment will be okay if something happens to me. And then last but not least, I would love for what with this nest egg, I'd love to leave it for my family. It's really important to me. I want to make sure when I'm gone, I've left this for my family, for them to be able to do X, Y, and Z. I know they can, take care of funeral expenses. I know that my kids will be able to still go to college. I know that, for my wife, she doesn't have to go back to work, et cetera, et cetera. I know that, so these 8 things, right? If I look at that list, I go, what the heck? There's nothing out there that can do that. Grow, not lose it. I want access to my money. I want tax-deferred accumulation. I want tax-free distributions. I want it to be flexible. I want some long-term care in there, and I want to leave a legacy. So from there, if you go to the next slide, you go, okay. And now we have follow-up questions on this, right? So questions when they start shouting out answers, and once they get the ones that you want, here's, you got some questions to maybe ask them. If they say, hey, I want it to grow. Great. What interest rate would you like that to grow at? 6, 7, 8%? Write down whatever they say. I really don't want to lose any money. Absolutely, I'm with you. What do you mean by not lose it? You want to not lose it to the market volatility? And I'd probably write down due to market volatility, right? I want access to it. I don't want, I really want to make sure I get access to my money. Absolutely. How much you want access to? Typically, they'll probably answer roughly somewhere in between 100%. Write it down. Tax deferred accumulation, right? They want to be able to access, they want it to grow tax deferred. Absolutely. That might be a great follow-up question. That might be, what kind of financial vehicles do you have now that fall into this category, right? Do they have a 401k? Do they have a Roth IRA? What do they have now that is covering that bucket? I want tax-free distributions. Definitely. I'm right there with you. Same question. What financial vehicles do you own now that fit into that category? How much money are you contributing to them? And would you want to be able to avoid being taxed on that amount that you access? Flexibility. Sure, everybody wants that to be flexible. Would you like the ability to maybe add money to this and not have to restart any handcuffs or a 6-year lockup or anything like that? Do you want to be able to make changes to your allocation on an annual basis maybe? What if your plans and needs change over time? Do you want to be able to stop feeding money into this thing? You want to be able to pull out more money in one year and nothing in the next? And you talked about, that long-term care. What financial vehicles do you have now that provide that kind of, access to your assets if something happened to you or your spouse? And lastly, you mentioned that legacy. Absolutely. Where would you want your money to go? What would you want it to do? If you go to the next slide, and then you'd say to them, have you ever heard of a financial vehicle that includes all those features that you just identified? And they're going to say, absolutely not. It's fake. It's not real. And you say, well, actually it is. It's called the 7702 plan. They're probably going to go, what the heck is a 7702 plan? And if you want to get technical, you can, give them the rundown. It's a section in the IRS, revenue code that, defines life insurance and gives you specific guidelines on what life insurance can be. This is where you'd open up that conversation to say, would you like to know more about, what the IUL can do? Would you be interested in adding cash value life insurance to your overall portfolio plan? And to me personally, I would say, it should be a staple. Obviously, not everyone agrees with that, but when you present it in a way like this, versus just sitting down and say, hey, I want to talk to you about some life insurance, the results, guys, can be pretty incredible. Because you're painting a picture to them. You're showing them what this can do versus saying, yeah, life insurance, you put in a premium, you get a death benefit if you die, you can maybe pull out some cash value. They stop listening the second you said life insurance. But you sit down, you get them involved, you talk to them, you have them tell you what they want. And all of a sudden they're going, holy moly, I need to start looking at this thing. This is a no-brainer. And then when they're done, if you go to the next slide, you can revisit those 8 key attributes that they identified to you, right? And give a little more context on them. You want it to grow. You don't want to lose it. You want access to it. You want it to be tax deferred, right? And you can name how these things do that. You want tax-free distributions. You want that flexibility, right? You want those chronic illness rider, right? You can explain to them how that works. And you want to leave money to your kids and your wife and your family when you're gone. You can check all these boxes with one product. And all of a sudden they're going, how much can I put into this thing? And those are the fun conversations to have. So with that, guys, I want to open up to any questions you may have on this. I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me and be here. I love the IUL. I just absolutely love it. When it comes to that tax-free, high growth, cash value, I would strongly put Allianz up against anybody. And as you guys start to sit down with clients, you want to maybe whiteboard, you want to talk ideas, you want to run illustrations, anything like that, guys. Love more than anything to sit down and talk to you guys about those as well. So, with that, I'll open up to any questions. And thank you guys again for letting me be here.
Great stuff, Eric. Thank you so much. Great information. I learned something new too. That was awesome. What we did, we have a closed line because of the number of attendees. So use that question
Makes
box.
sense.
And then what we'll do, anything we need to grab in Eric for, we can set up a conference call and make the introduction. Absolutely no problem. Okay, so we have 10 minutes left here, and I want to make sure we cover everything as far as lead programs, marketing material, and just share some of the value add that's available to you all. Okay, this is our IUL Experience microsite. So everything training, let's say for clients, prospects, you, the agent. We did some great third-party consultations, one-on-one YouTube videos. It's all in the IUL Experience. The sales software program is here, marketing material on both sides for recruiting and or selling IUL, all built in here, and some new additions that Andrew's going to talk about quickly. And then right at the end, we're going to have our question of the day. Andrew?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bill. And I will be brief. I know we're up against the clock, but I just want everybody to know, what's available to you real quick at Levinson & Associates. So as Bill just mentioned, we have the IUL Experience. This is an IUL agent's back office. You need this to be successful, and we spent a lot of time and resources developing this for you, especially for 2021 with AG 49, as Eric just mentioned. So I'm going to dive right in here to the first section, and that's just all of the campaign marketing materials. I'm getting a lot of text chats on the webinar here today about asking about these presentations. Are they available? Where's the marketing materials? We have all of this on the website. So just go to the IUL Experience. We'll be sending it out after the call, but you can download everything here as well by carrier. So if you like Allianz, come in here. If you like LSW, you have all the materials that are approved for you to use. Also, we have our agent training videos, and all these things are on demand, right? So if you feel you need to brush up on some of these techniques, no problem. We have the carrier microsites that go direct to the carrier training modules. We have our own trainings. Everything's linked in to this on-demand platform, so you don't have to go around looking everywhere for all of these different links. They're on 100 different websites. You don't have to worry about that. So everything's here under the IUL Experience Training Video Center. Also, we have categorized every IUL carrier we offer with all of the spec sheets, cap rates, par rates, everything you need to know. It's a lot of moving parts, right? So we just wanted to make your life super easy, and we created a chart that shows you just a sneak peek on what every carrier is doing and those materials. You can download them right there on the Carrier and Product tab of IUL Experience. And I just want to mention Columbus Life, our newest carrier, is on this chart, okay? So you will see that when you go on right to our website. All of the new materials will be there for you in real time. Also, IUL and scholarship, right? Bill mentioned this earlier. I won't spend a ton of time here, but you need to be using the scholarship program with your IUL sales. It's free for you and for your client. And you saw that we had like a half a dozen options for you on the IUL market, specifically Allianz, who just had a great presentation. Not only can you do those 8 things that Eric just said, which everybody needs, now you throw in a free 1-year scholarship. I don't see how they don't do this. So you need to get involved. We have all the materials compliant and approved for you to use right now. Last thing here for me is the scholarship resources. Of course, you can get all of that downloaded right off our site. You see a quick snapshot of the carriers below, and Bill wearing our scholarship pin, which we have available for you if needed. I'm going to go ahead and get it back to Bill for some lead options and our Positive Tuesday.
Okay, good stuff, Andrew. Thank you for that. So just a real quick note here. If you're working the IUL space, and I feel like these days, if you're an insurance agent, I don't care if you're working out of your garage converted office out of the house and you're focusing on term, mortgage protection, final expense, you need to know the basics with IUL. I'm telling you, because what's going to happen if you bring up this type of product to your prospect and they understand, especially for younger professionals, if they understand how the cash accumulation works, how it's tied to the S&P and how this could be used for retirement purposes, right? Or distributions every year, whatever the case is, they will want to know more and say, Bill, run a quote. I want more information about this concept, okay? So we had this book called New Rules of Retirement Savings and Planning. And this book was designed for you, the agent, to give this out to a prospect, okay? And it explains the concept of IUL in layman's terms, what we have our agents doing is giving these books out free, especially during the holidays, but you can really do it for anything. But give these books out and say, Mr. or Mrs. Client, go over this. Okay, this is going to explain it. When you're done, let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. And this will literally tee up the meeting for you. Okay, these days it's a WebEx or GoToWebinar, but this will do the selling for you. Okay, we have these at a co-op discounted price. They're like $5 plus shipping. Okay, normally they're $19.99. So take advantage of this. We also have 2 hot new lead programs that are taking off: mortgage protection and final expense. So in a nutshell, the mortgage protection leads, $8 a lead. Okay, the final expense, $6 a lead, and a 20% guarantee. Like I said, we were up 24% last year in the final expense space, and it's mainly due to this lead program that we launched Q3, or actually early Q4 of 2020. It changed our year, so definitely worth looking into. Okay, let's move forward. So just a couple other things, and then we'll have our question of the day, my favorite part. So premium finance resources, we have a section on our website dedicated to just premium finance. Definitely something that you want to look into, especially younger, healthier professionals. This is, I'm telling you right now, a way to change your year as far as income. The average size case is about $70,000 of commission, and obviously it goes up from there. But here's what's interesting. We have 2 new programs through third-party vendors. And, you know, in the past, or let's say the client had to have a huge net worth, a huge salary. Now, write this down. This is a big pointer. Starting at just $100,000 a year of salary and $1 million of net worth, they are in the premium finance program. And we have, like I said, 2 platforms. One, the third-party company keeps 0% commission split. Okay, that's a huge deal. So we have this whole section on our site. Joe or Carrie runs this up for us in the office. Call them with your next case, or if you have a potential client that you want to speak to about premium finance, we will get you up and running. We have trainings. We did 3 different episodes on the podcast, the Bill Levinson Experience, and then we have about 5 webinars dedicated to just premium finance. So take a look when you get a chance and call us with any questions. Okay, moving forward, just about done here. We have, 3 minutes left. So contracting incentives. Now, if you're already with Allianz or any of our other IUL go-tos, no problem. Let's say you want to take advantage of all of our tools, scholarship, software, no problem. We will match, or most of the time beat, your existing commission grid. Okay, if you transfer over to us, then with your first app, you can get either cash or free leads. Your choice. Okay, and it just keeps going up with every application. So we literally make this a no-brainer for you. We're going to include the coupon in today's thank you email that will be sent out before midnight today. Okay, let's move forward here. Now, these are upcoming trainings that I think you all should be on. Okay, number 1, I recorded a podcast episode this morning that was a game changer for any insurance agent, period. I interviewed a man out of Massachusetts who was up 60% in life insurance sales during a pandemic in 2020. Okay, 60%. He's got a great story to share. He came here with nothing. Okay, a family of 5 living in an apartment with $1,400. Okay, 20 years ago. And to see where this man is today and some of the great secrets to success that he shares, I'm telling you right now, is amazing. We're going to launch this episode by, I would say, late today or early tomorrow morning. You'll see it. But again, January 21, first episode of the Bill Levinson Experience podcast. Definitely worth your time. Okay, just under that in the middle, we have a third-party annuity consultant that is a freaking genius when it comes to annuity sales and marketing. And what's cool is he's not tied to any one carrier. So he's going to give you an overview of all annuities in the fixed and index space. That's on the 21st at 3 p.m. Coach Chris, we call him. That's going to be a big one for annuity agents. On the bottom there, remember Columbus Life, the IUL with 11% cap, right? And remember the Table 3 Shave Reduction Program. Columbus Life, scholarship approved. We're going to jump into all of their top sales ideas for 2021, and that's on the 11th of February at 3 p.m. So definitely make note of that. Okay, let's move forward here, and we are just about done. So any young professionals, okay, if they're healthy, they need a term policy, you must be using Insure Me Now Direct with Haven Term. Up to $500,000. This is where the client quotes, applies, approved, prints and saves their policy in 7 minutes, okay? No exam. The client can do this at 2 a.m. from your website. You get full commission. You're the agent of record. This isn't a referral fee-based product like some of our competitors. So anyway, write your first step, free tablet, no questions asked. Okay, question of the day. This is our Positive Tuesday quote that we put out every week. I know today's Thursday, but we do these weekly, and the reasoning behind it, we want to show you all how to brand and market online. Okay, don't listen to us, but watch what we do. You should be doing the same thing. Positive Tuesday means nothing. I love this one. First they stare, then they judge, and then they copy. Make your own lane. Get creative and scrappy, especially right now. Come up with your own little YouTube videos, okay? Your spouse can hold up your Apple iPhone tonight at the kitchen table. You can talk about IUL and what you learned today, right? And how it's going to help prospects. Or talk about mortgage protection term with return of premium and living benefit, whatever the hook is. We even have videos we made we can co-brand for you, and it's free. Okay, we have we have 5 videos now we can literally create with your picture, your logo, your phone number. Get them out on your social media. Get them out through your email blast tool, whatever the case is. But now is the time. You have to make sure you're front of mind when it comes to life insurance policies with your friends, prospects, neighbors, family, right? You always want to be known as Bill Levinson, the insurance guru, the go-to. But you got to get your name out there to do that. Okay, enough of my ranting. Question of the day. I spoke about the new Columbus IUL and the S&P 500 cap. What is that number? What is the Columbus Life IUL S&P cap? Whoever tells me the percentage, the number, and is correct wins. Andrew, do we have a winner?
Yes, we do. And as usual, got a lot of responses, but we have the first winner is Judy G. Judy G.
From what state, Andrew?
I'm looking at Judy right now. She is from the beautiful state of, she's from California.
California. Judy G. The answer was 11% cap with Columbus IUL. All right, here we are. So just to wrap up, okay? If you've never sold an IUL before, now is the time. Bring this up, okay? This one case could equal 4 mortgage protection sales or 10 final expense sales, but you have to be comfortable. We have all of the training material, all of the resources. You should know enough to be dangerous, and if you're still a little rusty, call any one of our marketers. We'll set up a one-on-one training. No problem. Okay, that's my promise to you all. With that said, have a great Thursday. Have a happy and healthy New Year. And thanks for joining us on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Take care and good selling.